Hi, Jessica. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having
Good.
me.
Of course, of course. Everyone, we have a special guest today, someone I went to college with, and we haven't touched base in a long, long, long time because I guess it's been that long since we've
I know.
graduated college. Um, I'd love to introduce to you guys today my friend Jessica Haley. Jessica is a serial entrepreneur, an avid competitive tennis player,
Yeah.
and so much more. Also, a mom of three. So, Jessica, I'd love for you to introduce yourself to everybody listening today, and tell a little bit about your background and story.
Yeah. So I'm Jessica Haley, and I am a mom of three. I'm living in New York. I am definitely a serial entrepreneur. I I originally left, we went to college together. I moved to New York City and kind of had a corporate job, and I ended up in like a dream job situation, but had the entrepreneurial bug. And I started a wedding business, but then as I had children and they got busier, it was like I was giving up all my time for the weddings and missing important things in their life. So I've kind of transitioned to building an online business. I have a social selling company, and I help teach other entrepreneurs and partner with them to kind of use technology and automation and systems and branding and marketing and all the things to kind of give them their life back while still building a really powerful brand and an online business that they can be proud of, but like still have their real life. And I play tennis as often as humanly possible.
Oh my gosh. The giving people their life back sounds incredible.
Yeah,
Just, especially this time of year, we're recording now, it's almost the holiday season, and it feels like there's these hours in the day, but they get used up like that.
they do. It's like you blink and it's dinner time.
Yeah, yeah, and you're like, how do I get something done for myself, let alone for my business? Well, just want to like go back a little bit. You have this entrepreneurial spirit. Where did it come from?
So I think I've always kind of had like this ambition to have my own thing. I used to literally like sit around as a kid and imagine being like the editor of a magazine or like living in New York City. And when I left Notre Dame, I moved right to New York City because I had this like Manhattan dream. And I obviously you go and you have to like pay your rent, you have to pay bills. So you get the office job and you're like, oh my God, I went to college to like tick all these boxes, and it kind of is painful. But I
Yeah.
ultimately made it to essentially a dream job, but I kind of couldn't get my head off of at that time the wedding industry. So it was like, how do I get in there? And then as I made that journey and kind of transitioned, I literally
Mhm.
would go to like the fashion institute after work, and I would do workshops on the weekends. Like I was just soaking up all the information. And as I entered that like entrepreneurial world and the creative industry, I learned so much about how people are building education and coaching and podcasts. Like this, a podcast has actually been on my bucket list that I have has yet to happen. But just like there's so much out there that you can build a business, and by utilizing your knowledge and your expertise and like the thing that you do best in the world. I secretly want my husband to build like an online coaching program for lacrosse. He was a lacrosse player in college. He's like, I don't know, I can't do that. I'm like, oh my God, but it could be so amazing. But I feel like I have this like my brain is always firing on like these ideas and these visions, and marrying that with technology. My dad was an engineer, so I always had computers. So that's where I'm like this hybrid of like creative and like tech at the same time. And I think like so I've always got big ideas and big vision, and I love the weird like mapping it all out and like the model and the tech and the back end. Like I love doing that also. So I've just always had that bug. And then I've seen in my industry and in peers, like people that are stay at home moms, just like me, having really big businesses and like much bigger than if they had stayed in that office job, to be honest, or stayed in their 9 to 5. Like the internet is exponential. There's an infinite amount of people you can reach, people you can help. And systems now, especially bringing that all together to allow you to have like a real income, real value, like real impact. I just think it's like so powerful. So that's kind of I don't know if that made sense, but that's kind of the curve I've been on over the last 10, 15 years of this journey.
Yeah, no, it
Figuring it
makes
out as I go.
total sense. I think that most people think like this is what I have to do. Like these are the steps. Like you're saying, I remember being in New York and I was going to like move to New York and just start life. And being in a hotel room and I was dressed up for an internship and I had like a blue shirt and like a black skirt, like anything you'd wear to a
Oh
corporate
yeah.
job.
I'm like, I've
And
been there.
right, and my mom looked at me and she was visiting that weekend and she was like, "Oh, this is what your father and I imagine you doing working in an office." And I like remember that moment still and I'm like, I never dreamed of that.
Oh my gosh, isn't that
You
funny?
know? Like that's maybe that's your dream for me and that's awesome, but like to have a job like that or to have a job like that just wasn't my thing. And I
Yeah.
think that especially the last couple of years, like this like freedom of figuring out who you are, what you're into, and really going for it, like it, there's possibilities. Like I listened to some podcast, I can't even remember which one it was at this point, but it was someone who'd created a digital course and it was on very specific, like potty training your kids by age 1.
Oh
And
my
her
gosh.
second year in business, she made over $1 million.
Yeah,
Like,
it's wild.
it's
That's
wild,
why my
but
husband
it's like
doesn't get it. I'm like, no, but you don't understand that there's like so much value to be,
right?
you
The
know?
world needs him to teach lacrosse because
Yeah,
he has probably a
especially
very specific way and a niche of doing
yeah.
it.
Well, he grew up in Maryland and like you're out in California where they didn't grow up with it. So like he has this expertise. I'm like, there's all these dads in LA that don't know even how to play and their kids are into it. And I could go on and on. But yeah, there is literally an online program for everything. Like literally everything from potty training to parenting to baking cookies. I mean, it's wild. And there are, you know, 8 billion people on the planet, like this many of them are online influencing and coaching. Like you feel like it's a saturated market or, oh, who am I to do that? But the truth is like everybody has a skill, everybody
Mhm.
has a talent, and you're one day ahead of somebody else. And that's really like all you have to be is one day ahead to help somebody else. And it's like, if you can package that up and offer it to the world, you can make a lot of money. Like I hate to, I'm not to sound greedy, but it's like then you can have that freedom and the time freedom. And like my dream was like this wedding industry, and I did build a big luxury business, and I got flown to Europe to photograph weddings. I've been all over the country to photograph weddings, and I get paid a lot and it is amazing. However, you I was gone basically every Saturday from Memorial Day to Thanksgiving, and like when you book a wedding, it's almost a full year out, if not more so. So you're
Mhm.
on your calendar. Like you cannot miss somebody's wedding. You know, you have to be
Right.
like on your deathbed or some
Mhm.
really extenuating circumstance to like not show up for somebody's wedding that has hired you a year in advance. But it was like, but my son had his first soccer tournament. It was like, I can't go. And my daughter's like first dance recital, it was like, I can't go. I went to the dress rehearsal. I had to totally miss it. And it was like, oh, that sucks. And it was like I had fulfilled the dream of like building the business and the brand, and yet it like didn't serve my life, even though it was entrepreneurial. It wasn't 9 to 5 and going to the office. Like I had done that, but it's still that's the beauty of this like internet marketplace that we sit in is
Right.
that even as a wedding photographer, now I haven't chosen to teach other people how to photograph weddings. I could have gone down that road, but theoretically I could have cut down to like 5 to 10 weddings and then had an online coaching program to supplement that income. Like that's an
Mhm.
avenue you could do. So you could cut down or focus all on the online education space. But there's just so much room to grow and so many different avenues for moms, especially. I think that's what I believe the most is that women are so uniquely positioned in this marketplace and in this world to like wear multiple hats, have the kids, the life, like the tennis, and also help other people and make a good income, where like my husband feels constrained a little bit by like the traditional job and like the pillars and like, supporting the household. And I think men have more that social constraint. Not that there
Mhm.
aren't great male entrepreneurs, clearly there are. But I think as moms, like we really are in a unique place to make a big difference and yet still have like the freedom for our families and our kids and our lives. And the internet is making that all possible. It's really amazing.
Absolutely. And it started with social media and us watching people and trusting their recommendations and like sort of
Right.
like seeing that come to life. But there's only so much you can do on Instagram.
Right.
And like I like teaching people a method, or having a podcast, or having something with like a lot bigger reach and bigger influence really does like it gives that flexibility, but also
Mhm.
financial freedom and time freedom too.
Right.
I think
I
that,
think as a mom is the
it's
most
crazy.
important.
I mean, quite honestly, you and I have had to reschedule this podcast 100 times because like life has gotten in the way, but like we both get
Yeah,
it. Um,
totally.
but it's like I can't even imagine at this season of life having a traditional 9 to 5 where I'm expected to show up and be here. Oh, this meeting got canceled, and you got to stay late for this, or you have to go
Right.
fly here. That is no life. And I think I've witnessed so many women I've looked up to and working for and with in the corporate world, like give up everything for 20 years, 10 years, and just see
Mhm.
them miserable because they're missing that dance recital and they're missing that.
Yeah.
And, I think, even looking over all of your like marketing materials for all of the things you're doing right
Mhm.
now, like you're really allowing moms to feel confident and give them sort of that permission to go and do something that they love. And I
Yeah.
think that's huge because so many people don't take that leap. They're so afraid to. They're like, I'm going to go and like go all in on this job or not work. And a lot of people have that desire to do something. They just don't know what to do, or
Yeah.
like what you're saying, it's only got to be one day ahead, like,
Yeah, one day, one
yeah,
step, one day. And
yeah.
that's actually
How
part of the reason so obviously I have had wedding businesses. Now I've partnered with a social selling health and wellness company, and I'm kind of using that as like two legs of, the puzzle, or that's not the right analogy, but I have one leg where it's like I can show up on social media and say, this is what I'm doing for my health every day. And this is what it's helping me with, all these things. And people can buy a product right away. So for people who are like, oh my gosh, I'd have to build this whole course and this product before I could take that step. It's like you actually don't. There's so many opportunities through the gig economy, affiliate marketing, social selling, network marketing to jump in right away and actually start earning right away while you build your personal brand. So if you're in that position of I don't want to stay in the corporate 9 to 5, but I don't want to go to zero, you could start building on the side in like a side hustle in your, evenings. Now that won't be great on your time freedom, but you could kind of transition or scale back here, build up here. And then if you've effectively built your personal brand, you'll figure out your sweet spot. You'll figure out, your lane. I think that's what I've figured out the most recently in part of like helping my team grow in this business is like these are the things I'm really good at and really helping other people at. And it's like, oh, people want to pay me for this. Like, I need to package this up. Like, this is the
Mhm,
thing. Instead of trying to figure it out without feedback or without actually being in like, on the ground doing stuff,
mhm,
it's almost like it feels like this huge elephant. How do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? But it feels like it's so overwhelming that I don't even know how to take a step. So I'm just frozen. And I think that's one of the biggest things people can learn is like, don't stay frozen. Like, just take a step. Just start, even if you don't actually have any products to sell, just start showing up online and build value. Like a girl that works in my company, she built like a leads list through text message marketing of like over almost 10,000 people in under a year, giving away her mason jar salad recipes. I mean, mason jar salad recipe. I was like, what? Like, that's the easiest thing ever. And I'm not discounting her recipes. I'm sure they're amazing. But like, this isn't rocket science. Like,
Mhm.
everybody has a thing. Like, your mason jar salads, get her on the list. And now she's delivering more value. And now she's taking them on a journey. Now she's teaching text message marketing to all these other people. And she has a whole nother stream of income. And it's like, so it doesn't have to be that you're, an expert on cryptocurrency and, all these complicated things. It can be as basic as you've created a PDF of something that somebody will value. The potty training. My 4-year-old peed his pants twice this weekend. I'm like, oh my God.
Mhm.
My daughter took one day to potty train. My 4-year-old turns 5 in a month. I'm like, what is happening? It's been like years of potty training. And I'm like, oh my God, I would buy that course right now. Like, give it to
Mhm.
me right now. I think we have failed in that department. But anyways, there's like, it can be so basic, and it's frequently the simple things that are the things that you have that are the most powerful, and like actually going to be the things that are the biggest income opportunities for you. Like, it doesn't have to be, world changing to be effective, and then gets you on the journey. And as the journey goes, you're going to evolve, you're going to hone in, you're going to, niche down or target, but you don't have to have it figured out to get started. I think that is like the biggest message for anyone that wants to get into any type of entrepreneurship, is like, just take a step. Like, that's literally all you have
Mhm.
to do.
It's so true. I took is it the Enneagram
Oh,
test
yeah.
a while ago, and so I'm a 5. And
Oh,
so
okay. I don't know a lot of fives. I'm not
yeah,
an expert in
like,
Enneagram.
collect a lot of knowledge
Yep.
and don't know what to do with it. Just keep collecting more. You should
Oh,
see my
maybe I'm a
bookshelf.
five. I do that.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like more, more, more
Yeah.
before I hit go, but I love your advice because
The
it's
story of my life.
yeah, but it's how I started the podcast too. I was initially like, "This has to be perfect and this," and it's like, "No, just go."
Just go.
And, and then you figure it out from there a little bit, trial and error for sure, but that sort of like was it analysis paralysis? Like,
Yeah.
you're like,
Analysis
"Yes,
paralysis,
yeah.
or
I have to reinvent the wellness industry before I can do anything." It's like,
yeah.
"No,
No,
my
no.
spin is different than somebody else's."
Exactly. Exactly.
Mhm.
I think a
So
lot of people get stuck in that.
totally, totally. So what would you do then if someone came to you, a mom who had been out of, stopped working maybe 5 years ago, so she
Mhm.
doesn't feel like she knows she wants to go back to work, but is rusty in her old field, or maybe her old field's changed,
Yeah. I
and
think
she's
just
like,
doesn't wanna
"How?"
go back to it. Like, I was an accountant on Wall Street. Like,
Yeah.
you won't find me there
No, 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 no.
ever
Like,
again.
what how do you sort of, like, help someone find their thing, their mason jar salad,
Yeah.
like, their simple thing and sort of pare it
Yeah.
down?
Well, I would, number one, think about like, who are you at your core? Like, what could you talk about endlessly for hours? If someone like picked your brain, like, if you talk to me about like lead magnets and funnels and, automation, I could talk to you like all day long, or tennis. But, I kind of know like technology is and marketing combined is like my lane. Like, that's the thing I can like, I geek out on that. So I know that's kind of my thing. But I would figure out like, who are you at your core? What can you like, what are you already an expert at, or what do you find the most interesting? Because it doesn't have to be that you're already the expert. It can be that you're taking an audience along on a journey. I always say, like, in your social media bios, it's, you either want to do like, I help someone do this, or I'm on the journey to this. Like, it's like a help statement or a journey statement. So you don't have to say like, I'm already the expert. It could be like, this is what I'm doing, but I'm taking my audience along. I think people should start a personal brand. I think that is like the number one thing you should do right now. I think the stats are like, you're 80% more likely to buy from a personal brand than like just a corporate-esque looking, you know, business online. So build a personal brand. And literally, if you don't know how to, you don't need to, invest thousands of dollars in like professional brand design. Like, pick a color. Mine is purple. I have purple on everything. pick a color, pick a font, some fonts you like, and then just go. Like pick one template,
Mhm.
one color, one style, and then use that in your visuals. But then just show up every day and think like, how can I help today in this person that is maybe like a step behind me, or like the person I was 5 years ago? How am I going to help that one? And I honestly recommend like partnering with a company like a network marketing company, because pick a product you love, because then you kind of get this built-in community of entrepreneurs and
Mhm.
leadership and training like right from the get-go. And if you are utilizing a product, I'm not saying turn your personal brand into that business, like do not do that, but you have something that you can like you're the because one thing about entrepreneurship is it can be lonely when you're like at home in your office all day. When you join these kind of businesses, you automatically get like built-in friends and partners to go on the journey with. So the training is typically free. You're not like you can invest in online education, but it's you get a lot of it as like just what you're doing. So and you have a product to sell. So you can instantly be making money while you build your personal brand and figure out where you can add the most value. You'll naturally come to those conclusions and figure out where people are, leading you, and then you can magnetize and leverage from there. But that if
Mhm.
you literally don't know where to start, that's where I would start. If you're like, okay, I want to help people, I see people that were copywriters for big marketing companies and now they're teaching people. If you have a skill from your corporate life that is easily transferable to helping other people, like this woman, okay, speaking of accounting,
Mhm.
this woman on Instagram, I'm not going to remember her name, but she does reels all about like accounting hacks for like entrepreneurs and hiring your children. And she's speaking on stages. Like she's built this like wildly popular, entertaining brand on social media as an accountant. Like how,
Mhm.
you would not think that that kind of a industry would lend itself to building an engaging, popular brand on Instagram. Like that doesn't even seem like it would go together, but like
Right.
it does. She's accomplished that as like a working mom. So it doesn't have to be this creative industry or business to business, but I would say yeah, just figure out honestly, what do you like the most? What do you like to talk about
Mhm.
the most? Find a product you can sell or partner with like an affiliate marketing.
Mhm.
Like if you have systems you love, they often have share
Yeah.
codes.
Like, and when you're saying to just to be really clear for everyone listening, like you're partnering with like a skincare line, correct? Like a wellness line. Like someone could partner with Scout and Cellar, like the
Oh
wine
yeah, the
company.
clean wine. I have a friend that's
Yeah.
like big at Scout and Cellar. Yeah.
Yeah.
Scout and Cellar, Saint Makeup is great. So I've partnered with Modere, which is like it's a health and wellness and skincare. So it's like
Mhm.
collagen, gut health, nutrition,
Mhm.
and then also skincare. But I'm not turning my profile into like the collagen expert, but I am like helping people run businesses selling products that help them across the board. So
Mhm.
but like the makeup stuff, like the Saint makeup, do you know what that is? The Saint makeup, like
No.
those, oh my God, the girls with the dots and they're like they're doing
Oh, I've
that's
seen
like
that.
they have like a
Yeah.
makeup brand, but like some of them they're called Saint artists, but they have these big accounts online of teaching people how to like feel better in their skin or be more confident or how to show up online. Like it's not focusing on the product, but they're selling the
Mhm.
product and then they're building more avenues to create revenue in their business and they're at home.
Yeah. 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 So amazing. Actually, one of my very first guests and a good friend of mine also left the corporate world and
Mhm.
like left a lot of things, like left their home, moved to a tiny home, and yeah, and she started this wine business as like a side, like well, we
Yeah,
just do
yeah.
this on the side. We're figuring out our new life and our plan for how we want to live in
Mhm.
today's world. And she's like gangbusters. I think she's got a team of 64 people.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Awesome.
yeah. But I think you bring up so many great points of, you're keep it simple,
Keep it
keep it
simple.
easy.
Oh, I was gonna
Be
say one of the beauties of that model, and for her especially, is she didn't have to open a wine shop. She didn't have to
No.
ship the wine. She doesn't have to deliver it. All she has to do is build value for her audience around how they could benefit from the wine. And when they order, she gets a commission, just like all those influencers with their outfits. And then if people want to come in and be business partners, she can train them, she can lead them, and she benefits from them as well. So she's leveraging her time, her income earning, and then, it can just blossom from there. That's actually why those are so great, is because you don't have to set up a store, you don't have to get a landlord and renovate a shop and have employees. Like, it's as simple as showing up and sharing and using. And I'm teaching my team how to use like automated systems and lead magnets, and how to like really leverage what they're doing on social media to, explode their pods and their customers and their audience. And but when all that stuff combines, it's like, it's a powerful thing. And like,
Mhm.
it's such an amazing time we're in right now for moms to kind of leverage these things.
100%. It's not just like the mom jobs of
Right.
I'm going to do like, part time here. I'm going to be a fitness instructor here and then be back
Right.
in time for school pickup. It's like you can create an
Yeah.
empire sitting right here.
Right here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and
And
all of
working.
those things, it's like you
Yeah.
clock in, you get paid. You're trading time for money. But that
Hmm.
value of that time you spent now isn't going to pay you next year and the year after. Where if
Hmm.
you can build, a customer base and a business group of business partners, and then you can build an online course or something that, becomes more of an automated sales platform,
Hmm.
you can have, leverage this income for years. I mean, that's
Yeah.
really the beauty of it, is when you go do like a part-time job, you're still trading time for money.
Yeah.
And with the internet that we have right now, it's like, it's just not the smartest way to do things.
Yeah, totally, totally. And you mentioned something in the beginning of your answer to my question a couple of questions ago, but uh just explain it just a little bit more because I thought it was really interesting of like I can't remember the stat exactly, but you're saying that people buy more from a person
They
than
do,
a
yeah.
corporate brand. So if someone were also to be starting out, you would say, "Hey, you should really market yourself
Market yourself,
versus your
yeah.
company."
Yeah. Yes, exactly. So people are 80% more likely to make a purchase from a personal brand. So say you're gonna be the Saint Beauty artist, for
Yeah.
example. That's not what I am, but you could be. I'm going to use the example of this woman Jen Reed, who I see online all the time. She's like over 50. She gets on every day and talks about women's wellness for like mature women. So everything she talks about is like, how to eat properly if you're like over this certain age, how to like, everything she's talking about is like showing her life and the place she's in, and she's giving tips for people who are also in this place. So her brand is Jen, the person that helps women who are transitioning, into their 50s and beyond. But then she's like, in her stories, talks about, she talks about all kinds of things, but she also talks about her Saint makeup and how it's great for the skin of it. It's apparently it's great for aging skin. So that's one of the benefits. So she also promotes vitamins and protein things. And, she kind of has like an affiliate relationship with other products she likes, but she's building this asset of her makeup business. But you wouldn't go to her account and be like, oh, it's like makeup, 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 makeup. It's actually very minimal. It's like, this is Jen. She's
Yeah.
the expert on women's wellness or for mature women. And every single day she's showing up with value for that little niche. But in targeting like a specific group, she's becoming the expert and her reach is exploding.
Yeah.
And then her sales and her team and all these other things are growing exponentially as well. And in the meantime, like, if I were her, I would then start launching programs or memberships or a community that she could further monetize with that group of people who already love her and connect with her and are binging her content on social media. I don't
Hmm.
know if she's doing that. I don't actually know her
Yeah.
personally, but I think she's
Yeah.
a great example of how to do this. And all she's doing every day is saying to herself, how can I add value to this specific audience, which is probably the person she was 5 years ago when she
Right.
entered this category and was researching like why her body was changing or why it was harder to lose weight than it was when she was 25, just all the
Hmm.
things. I'm not quite
Totally.
there yet, but
Yeah, me either,
it's
but I
just,
could learn.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But I think that that's also key too of, okay, I'm thinking of being that mom coming to you of like,
Mhm.
what do I do? Okay, here, I'm gonna create my own brand. I'm gonna keep it simple, and here are the steps I'm going to take to do it. And it's gonna be me. I've never promoted me before.
Yeah.
So how do I make that connection? And is it more of like bringing this consistent same value every day?
So I would do, first of all, do a brain dump, like get a huge map of paper and write down everything that it like makes you tick. And you don't have to, I think people think like, oh, if I have a personal brand, I have to share everything. Like we don't. Like you and I went to Notre Dame. People like hear that I went to Notre Dame online, but I'm actually a huge sports fan. Like I watch football and hockey and basketball like as much as my husband does. I don't really talk about that on Instagram. Like you might, I'm like a sports mom and I play tennis, but I'm not like, oh my God, I'm watching golf today. Like I never talk
Mhm.
about that on social media.
Yeah.
It's just like not really connecting with anyone the way I'm intending to. So like that's something I don't really put online that much. I don't actually put my kids online that much. Like my
Mhm.
feed is not all my kids. I kind of do funny things to relate to my target audience. Like last night I posted a picture of me and my 10-year-old doing the holiday cards at like 10 p.m. because I
Mhm.
was late to get them. So I'm like relating like anyone else, a busy mom who's like sending the holiday cards on practically Christmas Eve. And so it's like
Yeah.
relatable content with my kids, but I'm not, the point is not to be like flooding my feed with my kids because it's not
Right.
necessarily, so you kind of can pick what you want to share or
Mhm.
what's going to relate to your audience, and you don't have to share the rest. Like this isn't
Yeah.
the Kardashian reality show. You can target like what are the characters, imagine the characters, like what are the
Mhm.
characters of my channel going to be, and it can be, for
Mm.
me it's tennis. That's
Yep.
not really a person, but it's like my tennis. It's like
Thing, yeah.
internet marketing. It's my Modere business. It's
Mhm.
like helping moms get their time back and freedom. So these are all things I talk about. So I
Mhm.
pay attention to like sharing about those kind of like on a regular rhythm. And
Mhm.
then in my, call to action or in my bio, it's demonstrating like, here's how I can help you. Here's how you can get started. Here's how you can
Mhm.
buy something or get a free resource. But I think the biggest thing is like make a big brain dump, pick where you think
Mhm.
like you can talk the most and and want to keep going. Like what could you talk about all day that could help
Yeah.
someone else, and then kind of build your personal brand about that. And then you have to show yourself, you have to show your face. You have to
Mhm.
like be okay having posts that like talk about your daily life, and you have to be able to like educate and entertain your audience in an engaging way, kind of like on a regular basis. But you
Mhm.
don't have to overthink it. Like have a profile picture where you're looking at the camera, have an I hope or a journey statement, direct them to start here, like a call to action to a link to either buy something or get on your email. Even if you're not selling anything yet, you can still start collecting people's information with an email or a text messaging list. And then start sharing and kind of pick your lane and start sharing something value about that like every single day. And you'll be shocked how that could like amplify your reach and grow your audience quickly. And then as you go, you'll get feedback, you'll get comments, you'll see what people are resonating with, and you'll kind of be able to hyper focus. And if you are overwhelmed at, oh my gosh, starting a course or launching a coaching program, they're like start with a product that like a social selling product or an Amazon affiliate. You can do Amazon affiliates. They pay like 1%. I would that's part where I'm like, I don't know if it's worth your time. You can
Right.
look up to like 30 to 60% or more on these other things. So
Mhm.
yeah, and just go. Just take a step forward.
Mhm. That's awesome. And then what about like video? Like we've been doing this a while, comfortable on video, like someone just getting started. They're like, how do I do one of those reels? I'm supposed to dance or like lip sync to
Yeah.
something. Like, does everyone have to do that if it doesn't fit their brand?
No, they do not. I've never
Okay.
danced on my reels. So it's just kind of funny. I have been on Facebook. I was the third person in the Notre Dame network on Facebook. It was like, so I have been on Facebook like literally since the day it started. My friend was like, "You got to do this," and I'm like, "It's like me and your sister. Like, what is this
Yeah.
for?" Like, my how times have changed. But I've been on Instagram since 2011, and when stories came out, I was like, I'm not doing that. Like, I didn't put
Right.
my face on camera for years. Like, I probably
Mhm.
would have a bigger audience had I started doing stories, but it's intimidating.
Mhm.
But I would say you kind of just have to do it. Use a filter. Like, I've been a professional photographer. Nobody says, oh my God, they adjusted the exposure properly when they delivered that photo. No, like, get some filters, like, pick one you like, put your
Yeah.
face at the window. That's like nature's beauty dish. Pro tip, if you film in your car, you have three directional light. It's literally like all smooths everybody's skin.
Ooh.
Yeah, the car is the best place if you're like worried about what you look like, but
Mhm.
you just have to start doing it. If you're not comfortable speaking to the camera, practice just like take a selfie in the car, wear the sunglasses if you want, like just be yourself and put text on the story. You know, you can add like little text boxes, like just
Mhm.
baby steps. You know, you don't have to be Oprah Winfrey to get started on social on like your face on video, but you'll be shocked how quickly it becomes more comfortable. And with reels, I do reels like sitting at my desk right here. It's like I
Mm.
find it a lips. I usually do a lip sync one where I can like, you know, play on the words or take my point of view to like what they're saying. That's what I do 99% of the time. And
Mhm.
I sit right here at my desk. I don't dance and I do the sound with my face and I put up the text and the caption. And that's what I do for 90% of my reels.
Before I forget to ask, where can everyone follow you?
Yes. So I am at Jessica Haley, Haley, NY like New York. So Jessica Haley, NY. I'm there on Instagram, on Facebook, on Pinterest. I think I'm on TikTok. That's basically my handle across all social media.
Everything.
So
Okay.
yeah,
Perfect. Yeah, everyone can find you.
yeah, hop on and
Um,
say hello.
I think we got an amazing crash course here for everyone like looking to like take that jump. But like I want to ask you about you because you are like just you're glowing.
Oh,
You have a smile on your face. Like, and this is not like just at this moment. It's all the time. Like what is your secret sauce to like overall health and wellness and like how I mean, you work with collagen a little bit. So like
I
how do you get
recommend
the
the
flow?
collagen. If you find my Instagram, I can give you a collagen discount. No, but I think I have found like it's funny because my luxury New York, like high end wedding photography website talked about my love of Taco Bell. So I am not the healthiest person, but I did discover the collagen. I basically liked the business model of the brand. So I started the products and I did have like a transformational experience. Like I've had acne my whole life and it's gone. So I'm like, I'm drinking that stuff like liquid gold. But the things I basically wanted to take it because I'm afraid of needles to be completely
Mhm,
transparent and I
mhm.
don't want to have to get Botox. So I was like, I will
Yeah.
suck down that collagen. I will put all the creams on. Like I don't want to have Botox. So that was like
Mhm,
the goal, but now it's like you have better energy, you have better sleep, you have my skin cleared. I'm like, I'm never stopping this stuff. So
mhm,
that's one thing, but I think like the thing I've done the like for my health more than anything is honestly the tennis. I play tennis. Like I haven't done a sit up in a decade. Like I'm not going to the gym, I'm not out running, but I play tennis a lot. I played as a kid and then didn't play for like 15 years, but I think everybody should pick up a racket sport, whether it's pickleball, tennis. We have paddle in New York. Your husband probably
mhm.
knows because it was
Oh my
invented in
gosh. My
Scarsdale.
my brother-in-law is a paddle tennis
Yeah,
addict.
I play paddle. My husband is at paddle 3 nights a week. Like it's an outdoor winter sport in New York. It's weird, but it is so great because not only are you obviously getting the physical benefits of being active and working out, like obviously everyone knows when you work out, you get endorphins, you feel better. That goes without saying. But racket sports are also super social, which is a huge for your mental health. It's also they hit two different things. There's like fast twitch muscles and there's also endurance because you're playing for, if you play a match, it's like 2 hours. So it's like the different fitness groups, it's the social aspect, it's also like strategic, so your brain is going like when you jog your brain doesn't really have to be functioning, like not really. I mean, no offense to joggers, but like
No,
when you're on a
things
tennis
are
court
now.
it's like where should I hit the ball, where's my partner going, there's a lot of mental stuff going on at the same time. So it's one of those sports that hits like all avenues. So I recommend getting a sport like that. The downside is like you have to play tennis when other people play tennis. So I actually wake up really early. Like I get up at like 5:30 in the morning. That's kind of like I'm a morning person. The house is like dark. I'm in my office, building content. And that's the beauty of being an entrepreneur is like I can get up at 5 a.m. or I could stay up till 11 p.m. I'm usually asleep on my couch by 8:30. Like sometimes I fall asleep reading my kids their stories.
Me too.
But it's like I'll get up in the morning and then I'll play tennis at 9 or the match will be at noon or whenever. You have to play the sport when other people can play. So that can be tricky especially if you're in a traditional job and going to an office. So but I find something you love. Like I have a past bride who has taken up fencing. I'm like, fencing? She's like doing fencing competitions with like high school kids and she's in her 30s and a mom. And I'm like, that's amazing. She's like learning a new skill, which is like
Mhm.
mentally stimulating and a challenge and
Yeah.
physically, obviously, like getting her in shape. And it's like, who would ever think of fencing? Not
Yeah.
me. I'll play tennis.
Yeah.
But that,
Yeah. Don't
that
trust me with
along
a
with
sword
like,
like that. Mhm.
what was
Oh, go
that?
ahead. Go ahead. I said, don't trust me with a big sword like that.
Oh my gosh. I
Definitely.
know, right?
Yeah.
Like I would,
Better with a
I would hurt
racket.
somebody. Yeah. But I mean, finding a physical activity that you can like really get into
Yeah.
that also is social, I think is like a game changer for just like mental health in general and
Mhm.
like feeling good every day. And I'm like super competitive. So I love playing like I played USTA tennis matches. We had the playoffs yesterday. Like it's just like a buzz,
Yeah.
it's awesome.
Yeah, and I will say also my husband is a tennis fanatic,
Oh, nice.
and it's also like the after effect too because like it's like such a mental game, almost like chess. And it's like
A
if I
little
would have
bit.
stepped here, if I would have done this, would have this, I could have like gotten it. And it's like you're just like sort of like plotting the next,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's such a great sport to like age into as well.
Well, that's the beauty of it. You can literally
Mhm.
start at any age.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
also you start at your own level. I think that's what some people are afraid, like I'm a beginner. The way it's set up is that like any racket club has levels. So if you're a beginner, you're a 2-5, and I won't go into all the levels, but it's like you play with other 2-5. So you're not going to play me. Your husband's not going to play like someone who can't hit a ball. Like it's very regimented in that like they know where the skill levels are and everything's designed around that and you compete at your same skill level like across the board. So you can be a beginner and have competitive matches and go to nationals. Like there is a 2-5 national championship. Like those people started playing tennis like last year. They can go to nationals. Like what other activity as a grown up can you do that in? Like
Nothing.
none,
Yeah. Not doing it in jogging. You're gonna be dead last.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah. So
I get
do
you.
you like what other wellness things do you do? So it's fitness, it's finding like a career you love. Like what how do you like define wellness and then what else do you kind of do to meet that need for yourself?
Those are the biggest two. It's like finding
Biggest, yeah.
something that you're passionate about doing. Like I get excited every day to be strategizing my business and figuring out what's going to come next. Did I mute myself?
All good.
There we go.
All
Okay.
good. I, yep.
We'll start that over and just edit that
uh,
out.
yes. Yeah, we're all good.
Okay. Perfect.
Back to wellness.
So basically, back to wellness. Yeah. So basically, like my tennis takes up a lot of time, my business takes up a lot of time, but I think being in something that you're passionate about is the key to anything. So passionate about tennis, passionate about my business. Like I geek out on strategizing and what I'm going to build next and what's coming next. Like so that when there is a hard day, it's not so much of a strain. I actually, despite my love of Taco Bell, have kind of discovered how supplements actually really help your body and feeling better and not being bloated and not having like brain fog. Like I was kind of the opinion that you just kind of had good genes, and now I'm like,
Right.
no, actually, you can have good genes, that helps, but you can actually like actively help yourself out and put yourself in a better place by doing the right things in your routine and like your, like the nutrition that supplements that you're taking. And then also I would say like being intellectually engaged in the environment and like your kids' school and your social, your community social projects and helping other people. I think that goes along. Like I feel like that's part of my business, but just being on a podcast, or I ran this like entrepreneurship group in my town. Like that was like hugely fulfilling, but like I didn't make any money off that. It wasn't a business, but it was fabulous, for those social connections, those business connections, and feeling like you're impacting people. And so, yeah, just like staying curious, staying excited, staying passionate in what you're doing, I think is the key to life, basically.
For sure, for sure. And it's all about choices and
Mhm.
actually taking action, which I feel sometimes people get stuck, and
Yeah,
you're like, this, I'm just going to be miserable for this period of time because this is what's in front of me. And you
right.
have the power to change that. And
You do. You have choice. You can always choose. It's like you can't change your circumstances, like what
mm-mm,
happens, but you can definitely choose how you react and how you go forward, with those
yeah,
things. Even going through hard things, it's always a
100%.
choice.
Yeah. And so do you get your kids involved in everything you're doing? Like, are they playing tennis with you? Are you, taking them to these events?
They do a lot of sports. We're a sports family. You couldn't tell. So my kids are involved in soccer and tennis, and they play lacrosse, and they do activities at their school. My daughter just joined the Girl Scouts. If anything, I've overcommitted them to activities, but I want them as young kids, so mine are all under 10, to kind of have
Hmm.
a wide variety of experiences so that they can really figure out what their thing is or what they're passionate about going forward. So I really I'm okay driving all over town. I have a joke on Instagram. I'm in my car office. I drive to practice and sit there hot spotting and like get work done on my
Yeah.
computer in my car. Like instead
Yeah.
of driving back and forth twice, I just drive there, sit in the parking lot, drive home. So that like
Mhm.
allows me to be a little more efficient. But I'm happy to do all the carpooling and the driving and juggling because that's what I loved as a kid. And even
Yeah.
now, like I love having my things. Like I don't, you know, want to have to compromise my own sports schedule or my tennis life. And my husband,
Yeah.
he plays tennis and lacrosse, so he's got stuff going on too. We're a busy with activities.
Yeah. 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 And then how do you shut off? Like,
Oh my
is it a
gosh.
beach vacation? Do you panic when you need to shut off? Like, how
No,
do you
I
like
think
disconnect?
I shut off by like reading non-business stuff, like
Mhm.
getting involved in like a great movie or a documentary or like a book that's just like not necessarily chick lit, but like not around business, like doing
Mhm.
something that's just like a turn, shutting that down. That kind of gets you like refueled. I love being like, we're in a water town.
Yeah.
If I could paddleboard like every day, that would be amazing. Like just being out on the water is always so great, or relaxing, like being able to like relax, which with toddlers is not easy. So we're getting to
Mm-mm.
that stage.
No. Awesome. Okay, cool. Well, I have one question I asked every guest on the
Okay.
show. If you had a button, like just like right in front of you, it'd be with you all the time. You could
Okay.
press it and something would happen, and it'd be the same thing happening every single time. If you had a button, what would it do?
Oh my goodness. This is a tricky question. If I had a button, what would it do? I think it would magically organize my house at all times. If I could just be like, boom, the office is clean. Boom, the kitchen is organized. Boom, the laundry is picked up. I'm like guilty
Mhm.
of organized chaos. Like I know where everything is, but like if you walked in my office, it's pretty
Yeah,
back here. In front of
yeah,
me is like the Amazon boxes and the piles of
yeah,
notes and
same.
things written on napkins. And, it's like what you don't see that is, nobody's home is perfect, but that would definitely be my button actually. Now
Mhm.
that,
I love that button because
yeah,
when you have one kid, one of you could clean up the things.
yeah,
When you have 2, it's hard, you can still manage, but when you have 3, it's hard.
It's hard. Yeah.
It's hard to keep everything
It's
together.
very challenging. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, this has been amazing. I feel like everybody got a crash course on how to start a business, and it's perfect because this episode will be airing in like the beginning of next year
Oh,
when
perfect.
everyone is super motivated. Just thank you, Jessica.
Oh, you're
Like, thank you
welcome. I
so
hope that
much for
wasn't
being
like
here.
overwhelming or disjointed.
No, not at all. Not at all. Here, I'm going to stop recording right here.